Hello, everyone. Week 2 of the Ballroom Breakdown with Dana and Megan. We thank you for joining us. I'm Megan McPherson.
I'm Dana Searles. It is week 2. We got such great feedback from week 1. We want to thank everybody who watched. I mean, we truly have been having a blast doing this. We count down to Wednesdays now every single week.
Tuesdays first,
so Wednesdays to recap and yap And what a great way to have our midweek pick-me-up with this show. I love it. It's amazing. I forgot to say I'm Dana Searles too. I don't think I introduced myself. Apologies. I'm just so excited, okay?
Yeah, we are. We love Tuesdays. Dana has always loved Tuesdays, but now Tuesdays have an extra special purpose.
Yes.
And it was a great week. Week 2, obviously coming off of the finale, we got to keep building that excitement throughout the season. But yes, I think we have even more thoughts today, week 2, than we did for week 1. So I'm excited to dive into it.
We absolutely got to really see a little bit more of all the contestants, all the couples. It was double elimination, so the stakes were definitely high.
Yes.
It was an exciting night, and we're going to have to recap every single couple once again, but we have plenty of new thoughts and feelings. But before we get into the long-awaited recap of these dances, we need to address some new decor we have in the room.
Look at this!
Like we said, we've gotten so excited about this show.
Yes.
So week by week, we'll probably be, incorporating some new things, adding a little spice to the set over
keep
here.
You guys on your toes. You never know what to expect on the Ballroom Breakdown.
And this was Meghan's doing.
Yeah.
So I'll let Meghan take it away about the story behind this.
Well, of course, Dancing with the Stars fans know that the hunt is always for the Mirror Ball trophy every single season. That's what the contestants are competing for a trophy that is much bigger than this one that is sitting on our table here. But I took to Amazon. I did some research online. I was looking for a Mirror Ball trophy that we could buy to have on our set, of course, fitting with our show. And I thought that I was getting a much bigger trophy, maybe one closer to the size of the real one, but this is what arrived on Amazon. I don't know if you can see, but it does have our show name engraved on the front plate.
It's customized. So, you need to caveat that. It may be small, but let me tell you, it's valuable.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we want a Mirror Ball trophy of our own with having this show.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And at the end of the season, we're going to give out this Mirror Ball trophy to the couple we feel was most
This
deserving.
is like the honorary trophy. It might be
more important, I would argue. I don't know. That's just me.
We'll see. We definitely have some thoughts too of who is kind of leading the way of who could win this. So let's get into it. Week 2.
Week 2, let's do it. So let's start off with the first dance of the night. That's going to be the one and only TikTok superstar Alex Earl and Val. She had, I think it was a jive, right?
Yes.
And this thing was just fast moving. It was one hit wonders night. So a lot of great songs out there. And she just really stole the show. I think the judges loved this dance. She was very clean. It was a very technical dance, and I was very impressed with how she handled it all.
Yeah.
I loved this dance to start the night.
Absolutely. I love the costumes. Like we were talking earlier, great song for a jive, Mambo number 5. I definitely think I've maybe even heard that song on the show before. I'm not 100% sure.
I don't know, probably.
I've heard that song, and that opening move that she did, that was the first thing I noticed. Of course, she's done that move many times on TikTok.
Yes.
So I loved that. I think that her facial expressions were great. She looked like she was having fun, definitely less nervous than week 2, but I will say, and don't want to ruffle any feathers here, but I do think that we're still missing a little something from Alex. I don't think that she is fully there yet, but it's also only week 2. So I know I'm being a little harsh by saying that, but I still think that she really needs to just lean into fully being herself, just letting loose. I think that she's really trying hard. You can tell to get these moves, and Val's throwing a lot at her. I loved all the dips and everything like that, but I just want to see her have a little more fun, just get into it a little bit more and just let some of those nerves go.
Totally. And I think we're holding her to a bit of a higher standard, rightfully so, because she is partnered with Val. She was one of the early announcements of a star on the show. And so I think she's going to have a lot of votes around her. So now we want to be like, oh, she's got to dance. Can she dance?
Yes.
I have full confidence she can, but I totally agree with you, Meghan, that it just something about it just feels like she hasn't totally let loose, rip the chains off and just go for it. I was saying earlier, I feel like you got to be a little bit weird, and that kind of gets the audience into you a little bit. And I feel like right now she's still trying to look cute and cool, which she looks phenomenal. Don't get me wrong.
Yes.
But I want to see her get a little weird and just have a little fun. I think we saw it with that opening leg thing, whatever she did.
I don't even know what you call that.
It was impressive though.
Yeah.
It's like
a headstand
move.
almost.
Yeah, there you go. And I think that was a good taste of her. I just want to see it throughout the entire dance. But nonetheless, still definitely a front runner in my opinion.
Agreed. Yeah. And like you said, she's always so open, honest, not afraid to embarrass herself on TikTok. So I want to see that on the dance floor.
Yes.
I want to see her just fully lean into it and not have those nerves necessarily. Of course, you're still going to be nervous, but I think that, her stage presence can improve a little bit. So
right. We know she can do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Excited to see what they do in week 3. Okay, so our next couple of the night, we had Danielle and Pasha. So something interesting, if you didn't watch last night's episode, Danielle actually had a hamstring injury that she I think obtained while she was dancing or while they were practicing. So she said that she had a crazy bruise, but anyway, it kind of showed a little bit at the end, although I think that the dance was really solid. Love the costumes. She did that move in week 1, and I thought it's a really good move. There was a little bit of a mess up here at the end. You can see it on her face. I don't know if she was wincing in pain or if she was kind of like, shoot, I messed up. Yeah. I don't know exactly what that was, but it was a cha-cha. I liked the song. They said something about her shoulders, the judges. I don't know exactly what that was.
I think maybe just drop them, get more comfortable. I don't know.
And then that little mistake at the end. So the judges gave her a 19 out of 30. We haven't talked yet either about what we would personally give, but I think that the judges who gave a 6, I think that's a pretty fair ranking for that dance. That's probably what I would have given too.
I agree, and I think the competition this season is stiff. And I think Danielle I think we're still waiting for a little bit more from her. Obviously, she has that performance aspect. I thought her dance was super fun, and she's just so sweet and wholesome. But unfortunately, it is very physically draining on people's bodies. I don't think a lot of people realize. So an injury really can set you back, especially with, just the moves that they're doing. An injury really is tough, and I think that kind of showed in this dance, unfortunately. But nonetheless, I think I said, love the song choice. I think she hits her moves very well. That's what I wrote last night, and she has a great personality. So I think if they just really lean into her personality and her just, hitting all her moves, then I think she can do it. But I think it's just going to be, it's tough. It's such a stiff competition.
It is.
I'm a fan of her. I'd love to see her go well, and she just seems so sweet. So we'll have to see what happens with her. I think it could be either way. Either she's in the middle or honestly, maybe even next week. I don't know.
I see her as kind of middle of the pack right now as well. Nothing that's necessarily, bringing her right to the top that I would put her kind of as my favorite contenders for the Mirror Bowl. But at the same time, I think that, she's not at the bottom either. She's definitely right there in the middle. I thought that the dance was also maybe just like a little bit slow and stiff for my liking. But again, I think that comes with the nerves. It's only week 2. So excited to see more from her in week 3. And I think that she has a lot of room for growth as well.
Absolutely. Anything can happen. Okay, let's move on to our next dance of the night. It was Andy and Emma. Now, Andy, how can you just not love him by watching him? He is hilarious. He's phenomenal. He just really came out there, gave it his all, had a lot of fun with it. I loved Emma's, ode to the news reporter there at the beginning. Phenomenal. She did it amazing. I think they are a great pairing. I think Andy is hilarious. He is really trying to adhere to the TikTok generation right now. And honestly, I think it worked. I think that might have saved him. In last night's elimination, I just think, like we said, tough competition. So I think that his time is unfortunately going to come soon. But his intro package before the dance, it made me tear up a little bit. He just realized he fell in love with dance, and he just wants to keep coming back. And I think that's part of his plan a little bit. I think that's how he's getting a lot of the votes. Which, do what you got to do, King. Like, I love it. I love it. But yeah, I just think the dance is it's what we would expect from him.
Yeah, absolutely. A little bit slow, but he owns that. Like he knows that he's not going to be as quick or move as well as some of the other contestants. But people just love him. He does, he just really does have, I think, that ability to kind of win over the fans, and that he's funny. He seems like a very genuine guy. And also people just love to see how hard he's working. Derek talked about, that his hard work really showed, I think, from week 1 to week 2. And I loved his facial expressions too. That's part of like his humor and his charm is all of his funny facial expressions. And I also loved the weather reporting reference as well in the beginning. So I agree. I don't think that he's going to make it much further. He had one of the lower scores of the night or of the 2 weeks combined. But I did really enjoy seeing him out there. And I do love that he said that initially coming into this, he really wasn't that into it. And now after being here for 2 weeks, he wants to stay. He wants to continue on in the competition. So you can tell that he's working hard.
Big fans. I definitely voted for Andy last night. And I think that they're doing a really good job leaning into his personality. Like you said, that really draws people in. They're kind of aware the dancing maybe needs some work, but the personality is there. So just keep leaning into it, and I think he could be here a little bit longer.
Yeah, eventually I think the bar gets raised, and I think he'll have a hard time meeting that bar. But until then, I'm excited to keep watching him dance.
Rooting for Andy all the way.
Okay, so this is one of our favorite couples of the night that we have up next, and also I think one of America's favorite couples on this season as well. Brandon and Lauren. This was such a beautiful dance. I loved this dance. So I completely agree with the judges, what they said about this dance, in that she's such a natural performer. It's effortless, it's graceful. Her moves are so smooth. It doesn't look choppy at all. She just glides across the ballroom floor. And like this move, I just loved that. So elegant. Her whole look was impeccable. The makeup, the hair. She looks like a Disney princess to me in that dance. And so I just loved it. I think that, like Carrie Ann said, she just draws people in. I love watching her. Sometimes your eye kind of gravitates towards the pro. No, my eye Brandon's amazing. Don't get me wrong. But my eye really gravitates towards her.
100% agree. Something about her and her performance. We said last week she's a natural, and I think this is just continuing to show that she is a natural at this. In my notes, I wrote, I'm hooked in the first 5 seconds. And I think that says something about a performer, is that if you can hook someone in the first 5 seconds, I mean, the rest
they're going to watch the whole thing. Yeah.
It's amazing. It's amazing what she can do, how fluid she is. And I know we were all talking earlier. I think the whole newsroom kind of agrees on this. She's a sleeper, and I think she could go ahead and win that mirror ball.
Absolutely.
And I'm a huge fan of Brandon. I think Brandon deserves his credit. His choreography for her was just amazing. The perfect song choice. Yes, he lets her shine. And I mean, I don't think we can say much more other than that she's a performer, and she's so easy to be drawn to. And I think the dancing, the rest explains for itself. I keep going like this because that's just how she was. I feel like I was riding an ocean.
Seriously,
with her. Not a choppy ocean.
No, very smooth. Yeah, like on a smooth boat ride. Yes, she's beauty, she's grace. I think that's like the perfect way to describe her. And she had a 21 out of 30, which was all sevens, very solid score. I think I would have given that a 7 as well, but I think that she is going to be sticking around for the majority of this competition. And like you said, I think that she's also a contender for the mirror ball.
Totally.
People love her too. Brandon talked about how the reception to their first week was really positive, and I think the reception to last night's dance was really positive too. So I think she's going to be sticking around for quite some time.
Absolutely, and I think the scores will just go up and up and up.
Agreed.
Up and up and up from here.
Yes.
All right. Well, up next, this is an exciting one. It was Jordan and Ezra. Now, they had a lot of pressure from last week because last week they clearly had a lot of nerves. But I mean, I don't even need to say much here. Look at them. They stunned the crowd with their moves. Jordan is getting it. Ezra is getting it.
Yes,
I mean, her personality, this is what we were missing. And I think this is why last week we were a little disappointed, because we knew she had this in her. And look at her. I mean, you can't stop watching her. I think she gave it her all. She is so powerful and so talented. And the way that she was able to take the judges' feedback and do what she did, I mean, night and day. That was my favorite dance of the night.
Night and day. Mine too, and I think a lot of other people's as well. I saw many TikToks about how that was the best dance of the night. So that speaks volumes. But yes, I loved it. So much of a better start too. I think week one, it was kind of slow. You could tell she was nervous. No, they leaned into it right away. Loved that. The jump split. Robert did it too.
Oh my gosh.
The overhead jump with the split. I mean.
Into the spins? Yes. That's hard to do.
Incredible. Yep, absolutely. I love the choreography. I was going to say, I love that transition from the upper floor to the main floor. So much improvement. Also had a lot more actual dancing, actual, I guess, jive dance moves, right? Actual choreography with the jive. So that was great. The content was perfect. I think that the judges talked about that well. Content. It was awesome. And she got an 8. And I think that dance was, I think that honestly, I'd be bold and say that dance, I think this might have deserved all 8s. It was a really solid dance. But the judges are really hypercritical in those first couple of weeks. They're not quick to give out 8s.
And I actually saw this on social media. I'm happy that they're giving a little bit lower scores at the beginning of the season, because I feel like in the past few seasons they've started to give higher scores so early on. So it's been so hard for the pros and the stars to really learn from that feedback and improve. It's been hard to get, higher than a 9. If you're getting a 9 week 1, you only can get a 10 now. So I like that they're giving the scores they're giving. I think the judges have been phenomenal. And I think Jordan and Ezra, throw away all the doubts from last week. They are now
They did
front
not
runners.
let the hate get to them.
No. And this is the note. I was telling Meghan earlier that I took a note that I'm excited to share. This is when I took a note. I wrote this in my notes. I said, you're a super fan when you start rooting for the pros more than the stars. And don't get me wrong, I'm rooting for Jordan so much. But I feel like Ezra got a lot of hate after last week's dance because he is a newer pro. He had a rough season, so he had a lot of pressure going into this season. And I think last week the choreography was really a low point for that dance. I think that was a big, that's kind of what held her back in my opinion. So the fact that he came out, choreographed that dance, had an amazing, show out with that dance. I think I was through the roof for Ezra. I want him to do so well, so badly, because he deserves it. And so that's when I wrote that note. I loved it.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, because people know that Jordan has so much potential and that she can do a lot, whether it was Simone Biles or Shawn Johnson in the past, like the gymnasts have always done so well. And so people know that she can go far in this show, but she has to have good choreography as well. So that puts a lot of pressure on the pros to deliver, to give them choreography that lets them shine and also kind of highlights their skills. She's obviously flexible, she's agile, she's an athlete. So I think they really leaned into that with this dance. Also, they talked about like the sharp kicks with the drive. You've really got to be sharp and precise with the drive, and she nailed it. I loved it. Great song, great dance. She's a maniac. I love that. I love that song for the drive too. It was great. Okay, so next dance. Oh, we got some thoughts on this one. Not our favorite.
No. We got to talk about Corey and Jenna. I mean, the song choice. Just to begin, I was just, okay, go off, I guess.
Probably wouldn't be our personal choice.
No, and then, I mean, every single other move, I was just like, what is happening? I feel like we're not watching dancing. I feel like this is not the show for this. But, I'm glad we didn't put the split move in there, because that was something else. I don't even know what to say. Let me see what my note said. Oh, my notes were a little, honest.
A little brutally honest,
cringy, boring. But we're honest. At least I'm honest. I'm sorry. But
I know.
This is what I wrote. I don't get how that was a cha-cha.
That is exactly what I said too. I said, didn't feel like a cha-cha to me.
Yeah, where was the cha-cha in it? I feel like he just shook his butt a little bit, honestly. And I'm like, what is happening?
I agree. And I think that I have seen some things on social media about how Jenna did have a bit of a tough time with Corey. I don't think that he was necessarily a natural out there on the dance floor. So I think it was hard for her. I'm sure she had to adjust her choreography a little bit to maybe do things that, because the cha-cha is really fast and maybe he just wasn't able to keep up. I don't know. We're making assumptions, obviously. But yeah, I wrote that exact same thing. I wrote, didn't feel like a cha-cha to me, and I just wasn't a fan. It didn't have great energy. It felt awkward. It felt a little cringy, like you said. And I think that online reactions I've seen have said the same.
Yes. So I think the crowd agrees with us, but nonetheless, props to Corey for putting himself out there and doing it, because, when you do this stuff, you open yourself to all the criticism and people like us who sit here and judge.
I know.
Whereas, we're not out there, so we don't know, but, props
he gave it
to
his
him.
best shot. Yeah, he gave it his best shot, and it's unfortunate because obviously couples have to get eliminated. So sad to see Corey go. We haven't talked about eliminations yet, but he was one of the couples eliminated last night. Double eliminations. So we'll get to the other one in a little bit here. But next up, we had Jen and Jan. So our first of two of the Mormon wives, who Dana and I love, by the way. So this is kind of an ode to her dancing on the countertop, which kind of got her famous on TikTok. She dances on the countertop with her kids, and they kind of leaned into that with this dance, because they said that Jen danced with her daughter, I think, in one of her TikToks. So Jan has gotten some criticism with the judges for his choreography, but they had obviously a lot more actual dancing and a lot less lifts this week. So that was something that was positive. She looks like a natural out there. You can tell she's having fun. She has like a very radiant, contagious, bubbly personality, and I think that really shines on the dance floor. So that was something that I wrote. I wrote that I love her big smile and just, more time on the floor dancing, which is what the judges wanted to see. That was the biggest critique they got from week one. Although Jan did get a little bit of criticism for his choreography this week, right?
For a lift. Carrie Ann doesn't like the lift. So you guys will notice Carrie Ann will call out a lift every single time one happens. She feels...
Carrie Ann back. We haven't brought that up yet. She was back. Thank goodness, because that two-judge format was just not working.
I'm glad Carrie Ann is back, and she brings an extra spice to the judges.
She does.
But yeah, Carrie Ann doesn't like the lift, so Jan got criticized there a little bit. However, I think aside from that fact, I think Jen, I loved her dance this week. I think last week I was a little bit, critical of it just because there was so many lifts and I was like, what is kind of going on? But she had great energy. Once again, the energy is still there. I thought it was a lot more technical. I thought she looked beautiful with all of her moves and her kicks. And like you said, the biggest smile ever. so engaging. I was so obsessed with that dance, and I love that it was for her daughter, and I just think you could tell that that really had some extra meaning to her. So I think Jen just, continues to show out that she's going to be a front runner this season.
Yes, I love that her daughter was sitting right off to the side of the dance floor. She went up
her.
and gave her a hug after the dance. So sweet. So yeah, I love that. I think that's obviously a big part of how she got famous, and she talked about that because she used to make these fun videos, or she still does, dancing on her countertop. So love that they incorporated that into the dance. 22 out of 32, which is a good score, obviously an improvement from week 1. So I think that they are just going to continue to get better and better, but I think that they're also going to need to incorporate, some fun. They're going to need to have that wow factor, especially because she's kind of being compared to Whitney quite a bit. So, and Whitney's obviously a very solid competitor, as we'll see in just a little bit. So
you make a good point. What's going to put her over the edge? We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Okay, who's up next?
Up next, we have Robert and Whitney. This is our mirror ball winner prediction as of right now. So he had a tango, very different than what he had last week. Last week was a little bit more free and kicks and jumps, and this he had to be a little bit more firm and steady. You can see him right there. Still, nonetheless, I think an amazing front runner. He has some amazing moves. He hits all of his moves super well. He is super sharp and very clean. And I mean, Whitney's phenomenal with her choreography.
She is.
So when you see someone so clean and so powerful like Robert, you can tell he's obviously instantly a front runner. However, this is not supposed to be a negative thing, but we have to give critiques because everyone cares about our critiques.
Well,
right?
we're critiquing every
exactly.
couple.
I think his last week dance was just a little bit better just because I think he does do better in those freer situations. I don't think he's as strong when he's in hold. I think he's a little bit stiff. And I think he's a little bit, you could tell Whitney was carrying that tango in the hold because he clearly got more comfortable when they were in their side-by-sides. I think that was the best parts of the dance is when they weren't connected and in hold. So I think once he just lets himself a little bit looser in hold, then I think the rest is history. I mean, then he's going to be unstoppable. But I do think he's a little bit stiff when it comes to those, specific technical ballroom dances. But I think he's going to fix that real quick.
And I imagine that is the hardest part of actually physically dancing with a partner, being in hold and moving together, having to be in sync, moving across the dance floor. Because if you're not a dancer, you've never done that before. We all dance. I mean, people dance, right? Like all the time by ourselves. But when we have a partner that's guiding us and leading us, and also, he as the male in this partnership is supposed to kind of be the leader and take charge, which Bruno talked about. That's what he wants to see is, the men with their female partners like taking charge in these dances. So I think it was good. I wrote that you could tell that he wasn't as comfortable, but the crowd loves him. He gets he's got a standing ovation both weeks, but not as like fun and spirited as his jive. Obviously, it's a tango. It's just a different kind of dance, but he has great charisma, and I think that he will continue to improve. You can tell that he works really hard, and I think when he's just going to continue to throw harder and harder choreography at him.
And real quickly, before we move on from Robert, did you know he's 21?
No.
I had no idea. I looked that up last night.
Maybe mid-20s. Wow.
21 years old.
Yeah.
So then I was like, okay, now I feel bad for critiquing this 21-year-old on his form, but
But they've had even younger contestants on the show.
They have, but I was blown away by that.
Yeah.
Anyway, I had to add that.
I know,
he
definitely looks older than he is, but I think he also just has like a certain maturity to him.
True.
Yeah. Okay, so next couple, another one of our personal favorites, and one of our favorites, of course, of last night, Elaine and Alan. This was such a fun dance. Dana, I want you to give me your thoughts on this.
Oh, this was one of my favorite of the night because I just think Elaine, you can tell she is having the best time ever, and that's my favorite part about the show.
Look at the audience too. I love how they all had the pom-poms.
Yes. My favorite part about the show is when the celebrities can really get into it and just clearly love what they're doing, having a blast. Alan's having a blast. And I think personally she has that wow factor. We said it last week too. The performance just comes so naturally to her because she is an actress. So it came naturally and it just continues to show. I love that we saw this super fun, kind of goofy side of her.
And she used to be a cheerleader too.
Yes,
so that's why
she got to pay an ode
use
to
those
that.
moves.
Yes. So I'm a big fan of Elaine. I would love to see Elaine go very far. I think she has the potential to. I think if she keeps doing these type of dances Alan's been doing amazing with her choreography. If he keeps that up, then I think she has a really good shot of going a long way.
Absolutely. I think that the biggest test for Elaine is going to be when she has a more technical dance like a waltz or something along those lines where she's going to really need to, move with ease and also be in hold a little bit more like we're talking about with her partner. But I loved it. I wrote that she's such a ray of sunshine. Her facial expressions are everything. She just looks like she's having the best time out there. It's so evident, like you mentioned. And she got a great score as well. 21 out of 30,
did.
3 sevens from the judges, which I thought her performance was totally worth that. So yeah, I think that she is, again, like I said with Jen, she's going to need to bring that wow factor. But the audience just loves her. I think the people love her. The viewers love her because they have this association with her, of course, being in The Parent Trap, and so many people watch that movie. And yeah, her energy is just contagious. I love her.
I'm excited to see what she does. This will be a good one.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, let's keep going.
Up next, you guys, Baron and Britt. You guys, last week I said he was one of my favorites. I'm being a bit dramatic right now. But last week I said he was one of my favorites. And look at the beginning of this dance. Look at him go. Okay, first of all, he had a samba. A samba is one of the toughest dances to do in ballroom dancing. And Baron, I think, has so much potential. He is one of my favorites. My notes, I said, wow, he can move. I mean, he's one of my favorites. And spoiler alert, you guys, he was the other one who went home in the double elimination. And let me tell you, he got robbed.
Absolutely.
I am mad about this.
We texted each other after the show ended, and we both were pissed because after the elimination, because I don't think Baron deserved that.
Nope.
It's really unfortunate. I don't know if you didn't watch, maybe you caught it in that clip there, but he did kind of fumble the second half of the dance. It seemed like maybe there was a bit of he just got off a little bit, something with the timing, maybe he messed up a move, something happened towards, and you could tell, Britt was kind of trying to get him back on track, but he just never really recovered after that fumble. So I think they kind of were building this momentum in the first half. I love the first half of the dance. I remember immediately right off the bat, I was like, yes, this is amazing. He's killing it. And then that happened, and I feel like it kind of just killed his energy a little bit. I do think he recovered really well, like towards the very end. I think he finished strong, but unfortunately, that is what the judges are going to notice is the mistakes. That's what they're going to point out. And I do think, unfortunately, it was a pretty significant mistake that he made. Yes. It's such a bummer because we felt like he has so much potential. And I'm not afraid to say this. I think that he had more potential than Andy does on this show.
I would go as far as saying more potential than like Andy, Danielle. Now I'm getting really critical.
I know.
Elaine,
these are
like
opinions.
a lot of favorites, but I think like I would put him more potential than at least 5 people.
Yes.
Because what he does with his moves, I am like, oh my gosh, I've never seen anybody move like that before. And even on the first dance, I was just so impressed with everything. You're right, that one mistake really was just so unfortunate. And it's unfortunate that he had to do the samba so early on because the samba is so difficult. And throughout the show, they always say one little mistake can just go downhill from there, can ruin everything else. And that's unfortunately what happened. I still think he got robbed. I just don't think he should have gone home. We should have seen him keep going. And that was such a good dance. It was so well choreographed. I'm really, really sad we won't get to see dance again.
Me too. It's so hard because
if you see this,
keep
dancing.
Love you. We love you, and we wish that you could have stayed for another week or several more weeks.
Wow.
We think you deserve better.
If and an NBA All-Stars watching this, thank you.
Yeah,
wow, amazing.
And Britt too. We just love Britt.
Yes.
I think that she did such a good job making all of both weeks' dances with him fun, creative. I just love her. She's an incredible pro. Yeah, really unfortunate.
Heartbreaking.
They talked about the promenade runs too, and that's what got them off track.
But nonetheless, he still showed out, and I'm still impressed. We were clearly impacted by him.
Yeah, he had such a positive attitude in when they were interviewing him after he got eliminated. He was just so complimentary of her, and you can just tell he's such a good guy. So we wish that he could have stayed around, but we're just gonna have to move on, I guess.
Move on. Move on to the next, Meghan. Heartbreaking.
We love you. We love you, Baron. Okay. Next up, we've got some other fan favorites here. Whitney and Alan, our second of the 2 Mormon wives on this season. This dance was fiery. She was moving, and I have to say, Whitney's good, and she knows it. She is an incredible dancer. Her hips were moving, like the song says, and she exudes such confidence out there because she's a good dancer.
Yes.
She knows that she can nail these moves. Of course, she's got Mark and one of the best male pros, if not the best. And of course, that split at the end. I mean,
ouch.
I would not be able to do that.
Me neither.
Not at all. I don't even think I'd be able to get half down in that
No,
split. But
not at all.
of course, she is tied with Robert at the top after the 2 weeks with the highest scores of the 2 weeks. So loved it. I think that it was a great cha-cha, and like I said, she's just a natural. I do think that Mark is going to continue to have to, give her harder and harder moves because again, everybody's going to need to do things that are going to make them stand out. Like Whitney, of course, is a good dancer, but with that being the case, then she should be being given harder choreography because she can do more.
Yeah.
So that's just my opinion. But I mean, yeah.
I think she really gave it her all. I think that she threw it all out there. I loved her energy. I think she had some of the best energy of the night, in my opinion. I like how you said she's good and she knows it, because you could tell she knows it. But when you know it, that can go a long way with the confidence. I think she is so talented. I loved that dance. I will say, I think I liked her in a little bit. I liked seeing her like a little bit more fun, but I think I like her more serious in the tango.
Yeah.
I think I was more drawn
A little
to
more
her
technical.
when she was just like intense and in hold
Yeah.
and more technical. But super fun performer as well. It's hard to pick one or the other. I think they're two very different styles to compare.
Yes.
But I think she really left it all out there. I loved her energy. I think she has the best energy on the show. I would go as far to say that. And I think she is one of the front runners, right there with Robert.
Yes,
I know
absolutely.
we've
Top
said
3
that.
for sure.
Yeah, I think she'll go top 3.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, anyone that watches her TikToks knows that kind of what we saw last night with that dance, that's very similar to like the vibe that she gives off on TikTok. She's fun, she's moving her body, she's shaking her hips. So I think that, like you're saying, when it's more technical, those are like the real tests for her, and that's why her week 1 performance was so solid, because it was just such a strong dance. But yeah, I think again, they're gonna have to continue to step it up, but at the same time, she's amazing, and I think that she is going to make it very far because she's just a natural, and her confidence just is so apparent.
Yep. Go off, Whitney.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yep. We love
All
you,
right.
queen.
Up next, we had Hilaria and Gleb. Now, Hilaria, I think, has a bit of an unfair advantage here because, to my understanding, she, trained in ballroom dancing. I don't know the full backstory, but I mean, so clean. Her form is beautiful. I mean, she looks like a professional dancer in all these videos. I mean, she's very talented at what she does. I just don't know. It's so hard for me to critique someone who's been doing, ballroom dancing for a while. That's her whole thing, like on social media, is doing that. So I didn't have a ton of notes about her other than clean, very good. I mean, she looked like 2 pros dancing together.
Yeah,
there.
Yes, that is exactly. We're on the same page with a lot of these couples, because I wrote that she looks like the pro out there. Honestly, I mean, Gleb, of course, looks like a pro too, but I mean, you might be looking, if somebody hadn't watched before, and somebody might watch that dance and say, wait, which one is the pro and which one is the star, So I thought that, it was very elegant. I loved her dress, beautiful frame and arms. Carrie Ann was extra critical, of course. I can't remember exactly what she said, but I do remember her being critical of the dance. And of course, they're going to hold her to a higher standard because, like you're saying, she's coming in. They know that she's coming in with ballroom experience. So I honestly thought that she deserved an 8. She got all 7s. I thought that dance was honestly as good as some of the other dances that we saw throughout the night that got an 8. But for whatever reason, so Hilaria was in the bottom 3. She was almost eliminated. She was one of the people that could have been eliminated, and I just don't know if she maybe quite has the following or the crowd loves her as much as they do.
We'll see.
Some of the other
She's going to need
couples,
the votes.
Yeah,
we'll have to see what happens. I think she could go pretty soon here because of the votes. But we'll have to wait and see.
Agreed. Yep. Okay, let's keep it moving. Next up,
Danielle.
We got Danielle and
Dylan.
Oh,
yeah, Daniela.
Daniela
I was like,
and
wait,
Dylan.
Danielle already went.
Yes,
Dylan.
Yep. I know, it gets a little confusing.
Dylan Efron.
Yep. Oh, everybody loves him.
Yes, we were
People
kind
love
of critical
him.
of him last week. But I think, like we said, the persona he wanted to personify this season, he's still leaning into it, clearly.
Yes.
I mean, look at him. He's booty working out there. He's
Me
moving
and Dana
those hips.
were working on this move earlier.
Yeah, we were trying to learn this and get good at that, but I don't know if that'll happen these days. I mean, he also had a samba, and I will say he did the samba very well, considering how hard of a dance it was. He worked the hips. He did, what he's been trying to personify this whole season.
Yeah.
And it's working for him.
Yeah. I mean, in the spirit of being honest, I will say I'm not quite on the train that some people are on with, like, overly loving Dylan.
Yes.
There's other contestants that I'm a much bigger fan of. I just think that he looks a little awkward out there. That's just my personal opinion, and I know that's overly critical. I think that people have been comparing him to Joey from last season, of course, last year's winner, and I just don't think he has the same it factor as Joey had. I think that maybe a little bit of comparison there, but I wrote that he looks as nervous, and I don't know, it just wasn't. It wasn't very sharp. It's, like I said, a little awkward, but he does move well. I mean, he moves his hip. He's not afraid to, move his body. So I'll give him that. But 20 out of 30 on the scores. So kind of middle of the pack for him. I think he will stay around for a while because based on what I've been reading about him on social media, people love him.
Yes.
And he's a good-looking guy. He's got the charm, but I think that his dancing is what people really need to focus on. And the dancing just isn't doing it for me.
I will say I did right. I think he made up from last week.
Yeah, definitely better.
I think it was a little bit more dancing and samba-ing and a little bit more technical versus just, like the hip thrusting we saw last week. So I appreciated, I'm being honest here.
It's true.
I appreciated the samba. I appreciated the moves. I appreciated the performance. Trying to give him the benefit of the doubt, but I'm kind of with you, Megan. I just don't think he fully has it. I think that Daniela really helps him because she is a phenomenal
and my eye goes
choreographer.
to her. I don't really watch him as much. My eye goes to her because she's just such a standout pro.
Totally. So we'll have to see what happens with Dylan. I think he could go either early or really late. Don't think there's
a toss-up. Yeah, it's a toss-up. We're going to have to see. He's going to have to prove himself. Okay, so our last dance of the night, Riley and Scott. This dance was, this was so fun. It was so cool. I loved the costumes. I unfortunately think that Scott is getting quite a bit of criticism these first 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I think that he's obviously a very tall man. And with that, I think he, like I'm saying with Dylan, looks a little awkward. Unfortunately, I think that when you are more, when you've got more height, the men that have been on the show that have more height, they just look a little more awkward when they're dancing. It's just not as fluid and smooth. So I think that that's working against him a little bit. But the ending in particular was really strong. I just didn't love the song choice either. It just kind of didn't feel, it was a cha-cha and it just didn't feel very cha-cha-y to me. I don't know.
It was a hard song, I feel like, to choreograph to. So I feel like Riley did an amazing
kudos to Riley
job
for that. She did.
with the choreography.
Yeah, she did.
I love Scott that he hits all of his moves. He hits all of his moves. He really leans into everything. He's very clean with a lot of things he does. I agree with you when he kind of gets in that hold. He does look a bit awkward. I think that just is unfortunate because he is a little bit taller than others.
Yeah.
So I think that kind of has him as a disadvantage a little bit. But I love his side-by-side. He has the personality. He has the performance.
He does.
And I agree with you. The judges as well as fans are so critical of him. And I am so upset about it because I don't know what they're watching. I'm watching a talented dancer who is improving week by week, the 2 weeks we've seen him. But I just have a feeling he really cares about this, is going to keep improving. People are so critical. The judges gave him an 18.
I know.
An 18.
3 6s,
That's crazy.
Right?
I mean, compared to the other scores they were throwing out, that dance was by far better than some of the other dances.
I agree.
In my opinion. And I literally wrote, why are the judges so hard on Scott?
No, seriously.
Week 2 that they were hard on him, and I'm upset about it. I have a bone to pick with the judges about that.
With that one word thing that they were doing last night, Derek didn't even have a word to give him for the dance. So Derek in particular has been really critical.
Yeah.
So I think that he does. I think he really just needs to also just let him, kind of like we were saying with Alex earlier, just let himself really just fully be comfortable. I still sense some nervousness, and I think that's also why maybe I think that he looks just a little bit awkward while he's dancing. But like you said, he does have great confidence. I think that he really just fully needs to just loosen up a little bit. I think it's just a little stiff, a little choppy. But I think that people love him. They love the partnership between the two of them. So I do think that he will stay around for a while.
Totally. Such a good pairing.
Yeah.
Such a fun night.
Yes.
We got a lot of couples to break down. Next week we'll have less because
TikTok
we had
night.
the double elimination. Yes. Next week is TikTok night. I think this is going to get a lot of viewers. They're obviously very smart, adhering to the crowd, adhering to the Gen Zers, trying to get them to watch. So I'm excited to see what happens. Unfortunately, Corey and Barron will not be there next week. So sad about Barron.
Corey,
Corey, it's okay.
You did great, but
Anyway.
we are very sad about Barron. But this is such a competitive season. It's going to continue. The competition is going to continue to heat up, and I'm really excited for these next several weeks. But they've got Charlie D'Amelio as a special guest.
Yep.
Won a couple years ago, so I'm excited for her to be back. And the bar is just going to have to keep being raised.
Yeah, I'm excited to see the song choices for next week.
Yes,
it'll
absolutely.
be fun. Okay.
Well, thanks for watching us, everybody.
Yes, thank you all for joining us. Once again, we appreciate all of the support. We absolutely have a blast doing this. So we're going to be back next week with a fun night ahead.
And if you have any suggestions, anything that you want us to talk about every single week on the show, or just send us your thoughts. You can add us on Facebook or, find ways to contact us because we want to hear your thoughts. That's the whole point of this. We are obviously giving our thoughts, but we know that all of you out there that are watching have thoughts too. So please share those with us. I think Facebook is a great way to do that. And we appreciate you all tuning in and watching. We're excited to be back for week 3 next week.
Yes, we love it. Thank you all for watching.